Everyone, nice to meet you. I'm Lauren McKenzie. You may see a cameo from my dog Piper here, so sorry about that. Work from home probs. So I own Ren Creative, which is a local branding design and web design studio here in the Springs. My business is located downtown, and I started Support the Springs with a group of creative individuals. When we got the announcement on Friday, March 13th, that the inevitable shutdown was potentially going to happen. I'm going to go ahead and actually do a screen share real quick. We've got a couple slides. Emma, I don't know if yours is sharing your screen. Let me see if I can everybody see this? The Support the Springs nod? Yeah, cool, sweet. That's just so that I can have something fancy in the background. Let me see if I can swipe through that. Okay, sweet. Hey, go lay down, please. Give me a hot sec. Figure that out again. There we go. Okay, so we started Support the Springs on March 13th. So it was a Friday. The Downtown Partnership had a call with a lot of the downtown businesses just to kind of really address the state of the union and what was going to be happening in the future of how to handle this pandemic. And I was on that call. I was invited because a lot of my clients are downtown businesses that range from restaurants to distilleries to breweries to real estate agents to professional services. And so I wanted to be on the call just to stay really in the know of how to kind of address all of these changes with my clients. You know, I had to be able to pivot a lot of their existing plans on how they ran their operations, and just really kind of being on the tip of my toes, prepared for just about anything to happen. So that's why I was on that call. And afterwards, I got off of it, and I had clients calling me left and right. What do? I don't have online, an online service for my menus. We don't offer takeout. We don't offer delivery. We don't do any of this. And I just immediately started being, had an influx of people requesting for me to kind of come up with solutions on the fly. And there was a part of me that morning that I could just see forward what was going to happen in the next 2 weeks. Like I felt it coming. And so my brain started swirling. I'm an entrepreneur. I can't help but, field a million different thoughts all day, every day. And so I thought, well, if these 10 of my clients are already in a panic, I can't imagine what the whole state of the whole, city is feeling right now, in trying to adapt to these changes. And so I couldn't help but feel that I needed to do something, and I didn't know what that looked like yet, but I knew that I needed to get the conversation started. And I knew that I needed the influence of a handful of other creative individuals with a range of talents and services and skills. And so I sent out an email first thing that morning after I got off the call, and I said, I don't know what I want to do, but we need to do something, and we need to act on it really quickly. I don't know what this looks like, but I know that our small business community is really going to need us to jump in and to come up with a solution and to do it quickly. And if you guys are free this afternoon at 3:30, let's get together. Let's have a brainstorm session and figure out what our new norm is going to be. And I was really surprised. We're all creative agencies that we're small businesses, and we're insanely busy and have a lot of clients. And I got a response from every single person that I emailed, all 10 to 12 people that I sent a last minute email to. And they showed up in my office. Ari from Streetcar 520 was like, I already see how much this is going to benefit. I want to donate food and feed you guys while you're there, talking about all of these solutions and how you're going to help us, and let's do it. And I was amazed at the end of the brainstorm session just how many good ideas came from it, how many individuals were willing to say, yeah, I'll develop the logo for it right now. You know, what's our name going to be? What's our mission going to be? You know, what's the end goal here? And the end goal was, how do we develop an initiative that supports these small businesses in a time of pure pandemonium, while remaining, you know, very aware of how horrifying and scary the situation is, and not instill fear in our entire community, but rather look at this as cliche as it is, as a marathon and not a sprint. You know, we felt that everyone was already being extremely reactive, which is normal in a sense of, you know, uncertainty in times that we've never experienced before. And so we just saw that as an opportunity to say, you know, we want to shut down, and we don't want to welcome any negativity. We don't want to welcome or encourage fear. We want our small businesses to be aware that we're in this and we want to support you, and we're here for you, and we hear you, and we understand that it's crazy and there's a million different places for you to find information. And another thing too that I started seeing just that on that Friday of the 13th was there were these spreadsheets that just random individuals were like, I want to know which businesses are open. So I made this awesome Google spreadsheet, and then I saw, you know, Facebook groups popping up of restaurants being, you know, how do we culinary distance, and other retail shops being like, how do we keep our stores open if we're not allowing people in? And so I started immediately seeing all of these different ways that people, the general public, could get information. And I was overwhelmed, and I'm in digital marketing for a living. And I was immediately just like, this is too much for me. I mean, the news media is telling this, you know, the businesses are all freaking out. You know, Nancy down the street's like, where do I get my groceries? What am I supposed to do? How do I get hand sanitizer? Why is everyone buying toilet paper? And so I think from a grassroots ground level, we really saw the seedling of a huge problem, and we wanted to act quickly to fill that need. And what we came out of that brainstorm meeting with was, okay, we need one website, one place where people can go and get their information. Business owners can get resources. Individuals can find ways to stay active, to stay healthy. We want to develop individual maps that populate information that businesses give to us saying, hey, I'm open, I'm offering delivery, we've adapted, we've implemented this process and this program, and here's our URL for our website, can we get added to your map? And so that was on Friday. By Monday, Courtney Caldwell, who's on the call, she'll wave at you. By Monday, Courtney had already designed this beautiful branding, developed a color scheme, developed social media graphics, and a voice behind who we were. By Tuesday, we had up a simple landing page. Neon Pig is, I think, on the call. Their creative studio here in town. Neon Pig had built a landing page, reserved the URL, and the landing page served as a form to say, businesses, submit your information to us. By Thursday, we had 200 plus submissions from businesses all over the Springs, which was great and scary and overwhelming. And I'm sure that you guys were all really aware of how quickly everything was changing. That Monday is when the restaurants got the order that there was no dine-in, and panic. We had to pivot and pivot and pivot. And so we announced this initiative that we were doing, and we were getting so many inquiries of people being like, when's it going to be ready? What are we doing? And it's like, we would love to get it up, but the news changes every 24 hours. And by Tuesday, then, you know, we got the order that non-essential businesses were being forced to close. And so we just constantly had to pivot. And it was really, really great. The individuals that we had on our team had so many different abilities and services. And Lauren Ripko, who's on the call, she owns Studio Q. So her background is in event management. And so she was able to provide so much information on, well, you know, we can't have these gatherings, we can't have events, you know, so understand and appreciate that there's, you know, these people out here who've lost total complete revenue because we can't gather in public places. Katie Hartshorn was involved and was able to give us some insight from the Downtown Partnership. and which is, really, really great to be in the know with that. Let's see, other individuals that were involved. Jeremy Reeves with the Good Voice group, he was able to provide, messaging direction and make sure that we were on track with our mission. And at the end of the day, making sure we knew who we were trying to target. And that is small businesses, and in a positive light. Courtney Caldwell, again, did the branding. Leah Valentine is an amazing coordinator of all the things and all the people, and she's just a positive, bright light, who's just always ready and willing to give her expertise. And other people that were involved, who am I forgetting? Heck, I'm really bad. Neon Pig, they're brilliant with the website. They made that thing happen real quick. Let's see, the city. So we eventually got the website launched that following Thursday. So I think the whole time period in which this all rolled out was maybe 6 or 7 days. I think by Wednesday, we had an endorsement from the mayor and an endorsement from the city saying, we want to get on board. We feel like there's a million different people who are trying to do the same thing. And instead of having, 15 different outlets, we want to partner and just make one big monster. And so again, we had to pivot to make sure that the city can endorse everything that we were saying and aligning with CDC regulations and all of that good stuff. And so we've really appreciated having the insight from the city as well to make sure, we are creative. So we want to see the big picture and the beauty of things, but sometimes we really need someone to rein it all in and say, no, we can't really do that and can't really say that. So that's really kind of just the quick rundown of how we got going and how it started and why we all felt really passionate about doing this and about acting quickly. That was the other thing that was just important, was we got to do it and we got to do it quick, which sometimes is really hard from creatives because we want to be perfect about everything, but we felt the need that the community needed something more rapidly than they needed something to be perfect. So that's the quick rundown. Sorry for rambling on. I don't know, Emma, do you want me to kind of dive in deeper? How do you want me to kind of break down what our initiative is doing now?
I think if you can talk about what your goals are now, what you're doing looking forward, and then I know there's a lot of people on the call. So if you want to maybe talk a little bit about that too, and who is on the call like you did, and then I've made a lot of them co-hosts, but if any of you want to talk, you can message me or raise your hand and I'll unmute you too.
Okay, yeah,
so
awesome.
Go ahead, Lauren.
If anybody else from our team wants to hop in and chat on efforts or anything, have at it. Maybe Leah Valentine.
Sorry, I was on mute. I just unmuted myself. So I guess I've had an opportunity to meet quite a few people on the chamber and kind of talk about our mission and goals going forward. Honestly, I think that we're still, because we are in this reactionary world right now, trying to develop and define what our end goals are. So far, we are trying to figure out whether or not things like merch will be a positive merchandise, like t-shirts will be something that can help our retailers and restaurants in the long term. So we're going to have a lot of initiatives, I think, coming out in the next month and trying to figure out, like, what does this look like long term? And just like the rest of the world, we're, despite the fact that we acted fast on this, we're definitely living through it with everyone, trying to figure out, like, okay, what is the next step? How do we make this happen? One of, I think, our biggest successes to date has been the virtual First Friday, because of the partnership with Downtown and Old Colorado City. And a lot of that, thank you so much, Ripco, Lauren Ripco, for bringing in galleries from the West Side, but we ended up pulling in $19,000 for 15 local galleries. And so far, the data suggests that that is actually up from their last April 1st Friday. So I think the fact that we're creating these online campaigns and social media campaigns to really continue to drive the business, as much as it is kind of, you can get in this quandary of like, okay, well, what is consumerism right now? But the important thing is like we're all creators, we're all makers. We need to focus our efforts on the locals, the individuals that are really putting their passion and their hearts into these projects, and it's just being able to make sure that someone that's given up so much of their life and put so much of their heart and their selves into their business, this pandemic is out of their control. There's no way that we could have ever seen, despite some of, I guess, the global warnings and stuff there's just no way we could have ever really seen this coming. And it's important to try to look out for each other, look out for the community, and do what we can to support each other. So anyway, that's our bottom goal, is really supporting our locals. And specifically, like, even though it's kind of difficult to draw lines, because I know I'm a helper, I'm servant-hearted, I want to help everyone, but because of where we're at and because we are volunteer manned, everything that we've done, we have no source of funds, we have no resources, everything is like just out of the good of our hearts, and our own passion for our friends that are contributing to this community. We really have to concentrate our resources on one thing and that's kind of where we're at as far as defining, like, okay, this is for local biz, retailers, small storefronts, including the galleries, not including franchises or MLMs. This is for our small biz. So yeah, that's all I really have to contribute on this, other than
I'll piggyback on that a little bit too. And I think really where the heart of all of this is in the relationships that we all, collectively have with business owners in the Springs. I mean, they are who keep my business up and going. They are who pay my bills. And they've given so much to a lot of us as creative agencies, and allowed us to, foster and love their babies. And to see that rug completely ripped out from underneath them was just heartbreaking. I mean, it's, at the end of the day, I think it's really important for all of us to remember and recognize that we're all humans. These people that own businesses, those are moms and sisters and wives and nieces and daughters that own these businesses and have lost all of their resources and revenue. I mean, it was heartbreaking to see it all just completely crumble underneath them, and all their hard work and their investment and thrusting their entire everything into making these businesses happen, and just to not be able to have that. I feel really lucky that the nature of my business can be done completely remote without the need for in-person human interaction. That the digital universe has really been great for me, and I couldn't imagine having a certain skill, whether it be a barber shop or a restaurant, and no longer being able to do what I'm called to provide this community with. And so I think that for me, that was enough to really power me into making this whole thing happen. And I mean, it was countless nights of not sleeping, not eating, and making sure that we were getting this thing up and going, because we wanted to be able to ride out the whole length of however long this is going to be. I mean, it's not necessarily about, what's it going to be like at the end of this. It's about enduring, like, this is our new reality, and being positive through all of that, and making sure that, we're getting creative in how we can support these people, because I do think that the general public that, doesn't necessarily know how to do that. And we want to be educational and informational on how to tell, the general public, stop going to Taco Bell.
Yeah.
Don't go to Walmart for this thing. Don't buy, you can buy, there's other options. There are real people that are making this community what it is. And let's support them through all of this.
And on that note, I do just want to add, like, some of the, I don't know how many people have joined in on like the Urban COS series, but one of the things that I've learned in loving my downtown, like specifically our downtown Colorado Springs, which is home to a lot of our local small business, it's essential to creating this strong city. Our downtown brings more than 7 times sales tax revenue than anywhere else in the city. So if our downtown is hurting, if our small business is hurting, it affects the bottom line across our entire city. So that's something that we really need to look at, like, as the big picture on this is, like, we're trying to support the downtown, which is actually home to a lot of our small biz. So yeah. Other than that, I think Emma wanted to open up Q&A. Is that, unless anybody else had something to add from our team?
Yeah, I think just, we've just had so many conversations internally with our team that, when we talk about, like, can we give this time? Can we volunteer for all of this? And this is certainly no small effort. And we've had so many conversations internally just saying, well, of course we would do this. I mean, I think that's why everyone answered Lauren's call when she sent it out, is just because, well, why wouldn't we? It seemed like that was the only option for us, because all of the members that were a part of Support the Springs, we spend a lot of time in the community, spend a lot of time with our retailers, with our, restaurants, with our bars, with all of those people. And we're served so well on a daily basis that when it came time for us to serve them, there was no other option but, yes, of course, I'm happy to jump on that. And that's what's been really empowering about this whole project, is that everyone has just been so motivated and so loving, and just, all we want to do is help and to serve and to give back to that. And so it's been, just one more reason why Colorado Springs is just such a wonderful and supportive place to be, time and time again.
Great points, Courtney.
Yes.
All of the good points. Emma, I'm seeing some questions on here. Do you want me to address them, or do you want me to wait for you to queue those up?
Yeah, you can address them. I have a couple of people sent me privately too. Can you stop sharing your screen, Lauren, so we can see your beautiful faces too? Awesome.
Yes.
Okay, you guys go
I
first.
told you they'd want to see your
those.
pretty face, Lauren.
I took a shower today. Can you guys see me now?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
So something that I did just want to address is just the evolution of everything from, the initial conception to where we are now. And I kind of hit on it a little bit on my initial ramble was, we thought that the little seedling was going to be this and it was going to grow up to be this. But with how rapid fire, the updates have happened, we've had to really just kind of pivot and adjust and adapt to new information and figure out based on feedback. And that's been really great too, is we've had a lot of people reach out to us and say, hey, have you thought about doing this really cool thing? Or have you thought about doing this? And on one side, it is a little overwhelming to, that this is blown up as big as it has. But it's been really great because we're really, really open to feedback. We're really open to new solutions on how we can evolve it. And I really don't think that, we expected this to be what it is. I know that we have committee meetings once a week or a couple times a week. And we've all pretty much decided Support the Springs is going to stay for good. And once we're no longer in the middle of this pandemic, we do want to address what the longevity of Support the Springs is going to look like in the future. And we're excited to see how it will evolve and how we can continue to support this community and the small businesses that are in it. For right now, we the intent of the website is to be a one location hub for just about anyone to find information to help them through this time, whether it's SBA loans, whether it's, you're a mother at home and you want to know, homeschool resources for your kids, or where your kids can get free lunches, or where you can safely pick up these, and businesses that are offering delivery services and online retail shops, and how to stay positive and healthy, where you can find resources, how you can raise money, where you can donate. And one thing that was really important to us too, and I think it is because a lot of us are small business owners, we know money is tight for a good majority of people, but we also know that there is disposable income for a certain population of the community that's willing to donate financially. But we wanted to make really clear that you can still donate your time and your love for free to a lot of these businesses by engaging positively on social media, leaving great reviews, and not necessarily having to spend money that we know that most people are trying to keep really close and tight right now because of the unknown. So we did roll out, that one of the first things I knew that was going to be asked of us is, are you going to roll out merch? One of our really good friends, Sarah DeRose, was invited into our process as well. She and her husband own Fixer Creative, and they were the ones that launched the wildfire tees initiative during Waldo Canyon Black Forest fires in circa, I think, 2012, 13, 14. And they were just really insightful on how they rolled that out, how much money they made, the logistics that they didn't expect to have to take on. So they've been really, really knowledgeable throughout this whole process. And so we've had in the back of our minds, we know people are going to want to purchase, merchandise, but are we ready for that? We are a team of volunteers that aren't being paid. How do we get the funding to pay for the t-shirts, to then sell, to then make money? And does that make sense? Do our small businesses need that money in their hand right now? And are we, as inserting ourselves as a middleman, holding up that process of getting them the funding immediately? And so that's been one of the hugest questions that we've had to kind of field from the general public is, when are you going to roll out this merch? And for us, it was kind of like, well, we got to have money, because I'm not going to be the one to ask our small print shops to do it for free, But if you want to ask them to do it for free, that's great. But fortunately, Sam with the Creative Consortium, he just has, I don't know if any of you know him. If you don't know him, meet him at some point. He's a fantastic human being, and he's done already so much for this community. Through his business. He did the LGBTQ rainbow crosswalk downtown for Pride Week. He did Banana Cat, which is the giant mural on the perk downtown. His team wrapped that, and it's gorgeous and amazing. And so he immediately called and said, hey, I had to lay off half of my staff, but I've got a skeleton crew of people and we're bored. Give us something to do. How can we help? We have all these resources. I want to help. And so we tasked him with some, more low overhead priced items, which were stickers. And we kind of, played the field and saw how that went. And it was great. But then, the hang up is, how do we get those safely to people when they're not allowed to leave their homes, and they only are able to do, run out for essential errands. And so Sam immediately implemented a delivery service that safely offers all of those things to the general public in a safe way, so that we're not forcing people to have to leave their homes. The stickers did great. So then Sam called me and said, what about yard signs? And I said, that's brilliant. So I took Courtney's designs and I rolled out 15 different yard sign options, and helped Sam implement an online ordering and fulfillment system that he didn't have before, so that he could properly manage how to do all of that. And those have been amazing. And it's like, I kind of cry a little bit every time I see them pop up over town, and when we get on our social media, and people have been posting the photos of them. It's been super, super great. And it's generated revenue for him. I think we rolled out those signs, like a week ago, and I think he's generated $2,500 in revenue for his small business. And that was important to us. We don't want that money. We wanted it to go straight to him because he's utilizing his resources and his business and his employees. And so we were happy to have him really spearhead that. And so now the next big thing to tackle is t-shirts. It's a monster. There's a lot of variables that go into selling t-shirts. And at first we were kind of like, is that really what the people want right now? People want t-shirts, or do we really want them to buy the goods from these businesses instead? And so we've had a lot of conversation going back and forth with our team. We've met with an amazing individual out of Denver who's given us some great feedback and opportunities. And so that's what's next for Support the Springs, is rolling out t-shirts, and we're doing a little bit differently than anybody has ever done. And in that, we are going to hopefully launch a crowdfunding campaign or search for a donor to help us with the cost of getting the t-shirts made. And so just so that everyone is aware, we're looking to raise or somehow find a donor willing to pay Sam with Creative Consortium $3,000 is what it costs to get the first batch of 500 t-shirts printed. And then from there, we want to give the opportunity to the businesses that don't have revenue right now, your barber shops, your hairstylists, your gym owners, your local yoga studio owners that have zero revenue. And so we want to give them first rights to be able to get that wholesale product of the t-shirts. So again, we are just trying to cover the cost of getting the shirts made. And then we want the businesses to submit their information. We'll then pass over wholesale 20 to 30 shirts for them to be able to upload to their websites and sell to the general public. So again, we don't want people coming to us and giving us their money. We want to give the businesses the opportunity to sell those and to get that foot traffic, that online traffic to their shops, and that money going 100% of the proceeds, 100% into their businesses directly. And so that's what we're looking at doing right now. And we would love that if anybody has any resources, anyone that they're willing, that they know would be willing to donate to get this going. I think I crunched some numbers in the middle of the night last night, and the $3,000 to cover it, the cost to get them made, will then allow us $9,500 in revenue sales from these t-shirts. So that's almost $10,000 that then can be put into these small businesses directly with a sale of all of these t-shirts. So that's what we're looking at right now. Courtney's been designing some really, really thoughtful and very intentional designs. Again, at the end of the day, we're just volunteers and creatives, just trying to make an impact and trying to love our people and do it creatively. So that's where we're at with Support the Springs, and we're thankful that everybody is supporting us in everything that we're doing. And we love you, and we love the Springs, and we really appreciate everybody in the chamber for hopping on board with everything and doing these live events. This has been really awesome, and I think that this is going to be really great for our community in the long run. So thank you, everyone. We so appreciate all of your support. So yeah.